Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. We are about to go on a flight attendant trip, which I actually haven't vlogged a work trip in a while, so I'm really excited to bring you guys along on this one. It's a 3-day trip, but we only work one flight today and then one flight back on the last day, which is really nice, and it's a long layover in Phoenix, Arizona. I just went to Wawa for the first time ever, and I got one of their famous sandwiches. So I got a roast beef sandwich. This was like a custom order. It was a roast beef sandwich, classic roll with mayo, cucumber, shredded lettuce, and some cheese, I think. This was $8.89, which honestly, that's not bad considering most food at the airport is at least double that. I'm here about an hour before my sign-in, just how I like it. I like to be very early. So let's get all of my stuff. We're gonna head inside and have a great day of flying.
It's an early December morning, no one but we are. We look out the window as it's starting.
Just made it to Phoenix, Arizona. You can see the sun setting over the mountains out there. It is so pretty. I should probably turn some lights on, but this is a very nice room. I love hotel bathrooms too that have the large counter space and a nice big shower. Before I get completely settled into my room, I wanted to tell you guys about what happened on our flight today. So we did have a minor medical emergency. So I kind of wanted to walk you guys through what we as crew members do when there is a medical emergency during our flight. Obviously, depending on what the emergency is, the procedures are different because you would use different medical equipment and whatnot. I feel like what happened today is actually one of the most common medical occurrences that we have in our flights. And that is when a passenger just doesn't feel right and they need some assistance. So for example, today what happened, the passenger rang their call light, and I wasn't the flight attendant who answered the call light because this happened towards the middle of the plane and I was working up front. So a flight attendant in the back answered the call, and the person said to them that they just were not feeling well, were feeling kind of nauseous, was feeling out of sorts. And so the other flight attendant in the back came up to me and the other flight attendant in the front and just communicated what was going on. And so I said, okay, let's just go talk to this passenger and see what's going on. He was just feeling really hot. He was sweating, and I could just tell by looking at his face that he seemed white as a ghost. Like, he just was very flush. I turned all of the air vents on and made sure that they were pointing towards him. Now, luckily, this was a pretty open flight, so there was only one other passenger in his row, and while we were assisting him, she was able to move to a different row. And then I told him, since he was really hot, let's go ahead and take off your jacket. We paged to see if there was a nurse, a doctor, or any type of medical staff on board, and we did have an EMS on board. So he came and he helped, and he said that the passenger did not require oxygen. That was a question that I asked, if he was short of breath and wanted oxygen, and the EMS said no, oxygen would not be good for him, but to get him some water and some orange juice. So we did that, and I've actually had to get many passengers orange juice before who are having problems with their diabetes, like who are in diabetic shock. That's not what happened to this person, but that is something I've had to do in the past. All the while this was happening, the other flight attendant in the back was on the phone contacting our pilots and then also contacting our physician on call. And our physician on call is someone on the ground who is a doctor that we can call and get advice from, and they sort of direct different things that we can do on the plane. And then after the EMS used one of our in-flight medical kits to assess the passenger, he determined that he had an irregular heart rhythm and also gave him some nausea medication for his nausea, and since he wasn't feeling well. And then he also determined with the physician on call that it would be smart to have medical staff meet the plane when we landed here in Phoenix, but that we did not need to completely divert the plane. Like, he was going to be okay for the remainder of the flight. And then once we landed, he met with the paramedics and they were checking him out, and as far as I know, he is a-okay. One of the most intense medical emergencies I've ever had was on an international flight. We had an elderly lady passenger, and she was severely dehydrated. And she at first was unresponsive. I genuinely thought that I might have to do CPR because she was unresponsive. But then after a little while, she came to, but she required a lot of liquids on that flight. We had actually multiple medical staff on the flight, which was really convenient. And we actually set up an IV for her on the flight. Well, I didn't, but the medical staff did. And then I got to stand there and hold the bag by the overhead bin. And then what was cool is we actually used a hanger from one of the closets to hang the IV bag in the overhead bin, so I didn't have to stand there the whole time with my arm up holding the bag. So as flight attendants, that's one of the reasons why you see us constantly walking up and down the aisle. It's not just to collect trash, but it's to check on our passengers to make sure that everybody is doing okay. And then if someone is not doing okay, the first thing that we always make sure to do is to obviously check on them, alert the other flight attendants, and then see if there are any medical staff like nurses, doctors, EMS on board. And then depending on what the emergency is, our next steps are to grab the proper medical equipment, to call the physician on call, and then to obviously alert the flight deck. And then honestly, we just sort of go from there. For whatever reason, if you are on a flight and you are just not feeling okay, don't be afraid to ring your flight attendant call light. It is our job to assist you and to come check on you and to make sure that you are okay and to do everything in our power to make sure that we get from point A to point B as safely as possible. A few other medical emergencies I've had on flights before. Sorry, I don't know why I'm going into like a story time about medical emergencies I've had on planes, but I just thought this was like an interesting time to bring up the topic. I've had a passenger who had a panic attack on board. I have had passengers go into diabetic shock. I have had passengers throwing up. I have had passengers feeling very faint, like they're gonna pass out. I've had passengers feeling like they just really need oxygen. But with all of that said, it is currently 5:37 p.m. here in Phoenix. I am ready to order some food, read my book, and probably relax in bed for the rest of the night. I'm definitely gonna order some food on DoorDash tonight. I'm thinking Blaze Pizza just because I haven't had them in a while, and I do really like Blaze Pizza. I think I'm gonna do the build your own pizza, and then while I wait for it to get here, I can unpack and basically get ready for bed. Okay, for my pizza tonight, I want red sauce, shredded mozzarella. I don't want any meat on my pizza tonight, but I would like some basil, pineapple, spinach, and then I want tomatoes too. I didn't see those. Oh, there we go, cherry tomatoes. So I want the balsamic glaze, but the last time I did that, they drenched it in my pizza and it was almost inedible. It was not good. So I'm gonna skip that this time. I don't want any dessert or beverages, so that's all I'm gonna get. Yes, I am going downstairs to pick up my food and my pajamas, and no, I do not care. This is cool. So DoorDash has a new feature where it just shows up like a notification where you can track your order. Also, everybody say hi to Miss Luna. Yum! My pizza is here, and then I have my Kindle right here ready to read after I eat. The lighting is really bad, so I'm turning on the flash on my phone so you guys can see the pizza. But oh my gosh, it looks so good. Okay, so after I finish my pizza, I've literally just been laying here reading for the past hour and a half. Oh, my Kindle was upside down when I picked it up. And I finished the book Tower of Dawn, and this is the last one before the finale, like the last book in the Throne of Glass series. And oh my gosh, I genuinely enjoyed this book so much more than I thought I would. If you have read the series or are currently reading the series, this book is mostly about Kale, and he was my least favorite character throughout the entire series, so I was kind of dreading this specific book, knowing that it was about him. But it blew my mind, and it was so much better than I was expecting. Just so emotional and beautifully written. The world building was phenomenal, and just all around an incredible book. So now I am so happy but also so sad because I'm about to start the last book in this phenomenal series, and it has honestly felt like my own quest, my own journey reading this entire fantasy series. I do have a question for you guys though. Obviously I talk about reading a lot on my channel because it's just one of my favorite things to do and it's a really big passion of mine, but I am curious If any of you have ever read a book that I have recommended here on my channel, let me know what book it was and did you like it? What were your thoughts on that book? Or if you've read multiple books that I've recommended, what are your thoughts? I'm really curious because I feel like now I have a very distinct taste in books, like what I enjoy to read, and it changes a lot. Like it's changed a lot since I first started my channel, so I don't know, I'm just curious to know. But since I finished that book, I am pretty tired. So I think I'm gonna go brush my teeth and wash my face and head to bed. So I will see you guys tomorrow morning.
And I realize as you had me to go, we got by. Falling just like these snowflakes, tumbling down round and round.
Good morning, everybody. It is actually only 9:20 a.m. right now, and I've already had a pretty productive day. That's one thing that I love about flying from the East Coast to the West Coast for my flight attendant trips. Because of the time change, I naturally wake up earlier. Like I naturally woke up at 6 a.m. today, which I never do at home. So I can get a lot of extra things done. Like I worked out, I stretched, I took a shower, got ready, and now I'm going to brunch with my friend. This is what I'm gonna wear to brunch. Just jeans, my tennis shoes, and this green shirt. Hey guys, so I'm back from brunch now, and I'm sorry I didn't vlog like anything because I was just so focused on catching up with her and really in the moment. And it was awesome, but now I'm just back in my hotel room hanging out. Also, I just made a new video live on YouTube, so if you haven't watched it yet, go check it out. It's been a little while since I've actually talked to you guys because I was just watching random YouTube videos, and then I started Kingdom of Ash, which is the last book in the Throne of Glass series. I feel very emotional starting the last book just because I don't want the series to end, but also I want to know how it ends. Anyway, it is 5 o'clock right now, so I'm gonna order myself some dinner again from DoorDash, and then I'll eat it on the plane while I'm working my flight back to Philadelphia. But I want to order it now, and then as soon as it gets here, I'm going to take a nap before I have to get ready for work. I'm gonna do a create your own salad. Normally I always meal prep and I have at least some food from home, but this trip I just was, I guess, feeling really tired and lazy, and I just didn't meal prep at all, which I am regretting now because this is turning out to be kind of expensive when you travel and have to eat out every single meal. So this is my reminder that if I'm working a domestic trip, to make sure that I bring my food. It's different if it's international because you can't really bring food, but on domestic trips like this, I definitely need to do better about meal prepping. Good evening, everybody. I have my camera sitting on a lamp, so that's why I'm kind of leaned over so that way you guys can see my face. But it is currently 10:25 p.m. We have 10 minutes until our pickup downstairs, but I wanted to show you guys the salad that I got. It looks pretty good. In here, I have their Southwest chicken, some corn, cheese, I want to say carrots. What else is in here? The lettuce, I have ranch on the side, and some croutons. So that is what I will eat for a very late dinner on my flight tonight.
Snowflakes falling for you, falling for you. Hadn't counted on love for Christmas.
Good morning, everybody. So when I came back from my red eye, I came home to the most special and beautiful surprise. I literally almost started crying. We celebrated Santa Claus on the 7th of December. Normally you're supposed to celebrate it on the 6th, but Eric's family was so nice and waited for me to get home from work. And what Santa Claus is the night before the children put their shoes out and Santa Claus comes and he brings them gifts, usually chocolates and oranges, and if you're really good, some presents as well. And it was just so special that Eric's parents did that for us, and I was not expecting it at all. I thought it was so sweet and just a really, really beautiful tradition. Oh, hey Luna, are you coming to say hi? And what Santa Claus brought me is 2 new books, and oh my gosh, I'm so excited. These covers are gorgeous. Just look at how beautiful these look. These are both romance books, and I was so excited because these go together. I think this is the first one and this is the second one, but the main character in this one is a gymnast, and I have never read a romance book where the character was a gymnast, so I absolutely cannot wait to read these. This one, Where Time Stands Still, I feel like is definitely going to be a tearjerker. It's about this lady named Ren. She's only 26 years old, but she has early onset Alzheimer's, I think, and it's about her falling in love with this guy named Aaron. And I just feel like this book is one of those books that's just gonna make me cry. So I need to put these on my bookshelf. This is my TBR section of my bookshelf. So all of the books that I own but just have not read yet, I put in this little section right here. So these are the books that I plan on reading the rest of December and January and probably into February, depending on how much I'm able to read. And then I also have the Barnes & Noble exclusives of Crescent City 1 and Crescent City 2. The third one comes out in January, so I haven't read these yet. I plan to read them in January so I can do it all back to back. But yeah, that is pretty much it for me for this video. Miss Luna says to make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. All that fun YouTube stuff. Thank you everyone so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!
But I ain't